right, everybody. Welcome to One Nation, a Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and tonight we have a special treat for you. We have Sydney Halderman of the Lady Mustangs, and she's going to join us. You're going to find out that there is pretty much not much that this girl doesn't do, and she does it and does it well. I want to quickly show you her article, and it says Mustang Strong. Um, we'll ask her a bunch of questions about her article and just what's been going on since we did that interview and what lies ahead. So we're excited to have her on tonight. I'm just going to ask you that if you have comments or if you have questions that you want to ask Sydney, feel free to put that in the comment section and we will try to get you on and either ask that question or share those comments. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and bring Sydney on in here. Hey, Sydney, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good. We're glad to have you on here tonight. So you are
Yep, glad to be here.
good. You are in your kitchen right now, and am I stopping you from eating dinner? That's the question.
Yes,
Okay.
kinda. Well,
Well,
I've been eating for a while. I had dinner about an hour ago, so got a full
okay.
stomach right now.
Okay. All right. So good. You're ready to go. All right. Hey, we've got
Yep.
let's see. Taylor Wall is watching, so welcome, Taylor. And we've got plenty of others that are already logging in here real quick. And again, if you guys have any questions for Sydney or any comments, feel free to do that. All right, Sydney, we're going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit. We had your article in Sports Soccer Magazine, and your title of the article was Mustang Strong. Tell us about that, and what does that mean to you?
So that's something that we just started saying a lot like this year, everything that's been going on throughout the teams and stuff, and it basically just means like pushing through when things get hard or when things get tough and just never giving up on yourself.
Okay. Was that something that the coaches drove home, or is it something that you guys just kind of picked up on and shared with one another?
Yeah, Coach Ryan's really the one that really stuck that in our minds over throughout the basketball season.
Okay. Well, we will get into talking about him a little bit later on, as well as some of those other things that he probably drove home over and over and over and over and over again. And you guys were like, okay, we got it. We got it. All
Yeah.
right. Hey, we've got Rena McDevitt, and she says, hey, Sid. So welcome. Is it Rena or Renee? Do you know?
Renee.
Okay. I don't want to butcher her name, and I was. So sorry. I wanted to make sure you did it. All right. What did it mean to you having your article in Sports Soccer?
I just felt really privileged to be picked as one of the featured athletes in the article and get my story out there for other athletes coming
Yeah.
up in the high school career.
Well, we were honored to have you in there, and I don't know if you know this or not, but did you know that the school selects you, and we don't necessarily select you?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
All right. Yeah. What they do is they go through and they talk to the coaches and they determine these are the student athletes that we want to go ahead and have represented in the magazine, and you were one of those people. And so, we only are able to do six per year because we have six issues. So they think very highly of you and feel that you are a good representative of Eldon. So we, I know they're honored to have you in as well as we are.
Yeah, that means a lot.
Yeah. So if there was anything that was wrong, you just blame them, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, we had a good time with you at your photo shoot, and you chose to take and wear your volleyball uniform. We gave you the choice, volleyball or basketball, and I know you've got accolades in both of them. What was the kind of the reasoning behind your choice for the volleyball uniform? Do you remember?
Well, that's actually kind of a funny story. I was taking a test in one of my classes, and so I was just in a hurry to get back to class, so I just grabbed the first jersey that I saw
Okay.
and threw it on.
Well, that's awesome. There you have it, the inside scoop. That's why we do Sports Soccer Magazine Extra, so people can find out, okay, Why did she go with that
Yeah.
sport? I don't know. She's good at both of them. So there you go. And it was
Yeah.
nice to had the volleyball net up, so that was good. Able to use that.
It was.
Speaking of volleyball, you were a two-time all-district and all-conference. Talk about volleyball and what you enjoyed most about that sport.
My favorite thing about volleyball is basically just like the environment, always being positive, and then always knowing the teams are right behind me, always had my back, and how much support we got from the team, and basically from the town too.
Talk about that a little bit. Support from the town. You guys got a great support system there. Why don't you share a little bit about some of your favorite moments with the fans there?
Yeah, one of the like my favorite moments that I can remember is I think it was the sectional game last year, and it was at home, and like this there was not a single empty seat in our gym because everybody just like packed the whole thing. There's like pictures that are posted on Facebook, and like you can like pick out each person in the crowd, and they're just
Oh,
like
that's cool.
lined up across.
That's great. So with that big crowd,
Yeah.
everybody's going to want to know this one. Which of your family members could you hear the most clearly?
Oh, definitely my dad. Always my dad.
Okay. She was on the other end of the spectrum for me. It was my mom and my
Yeah.
sisters. Man, my sisters are just like that. My grandmother was like that. I mean, it's just like runs down through the family. I know my daughter. You can hear my daughter yelling for the kids. So uh,
My
that's good.
mom basically is the one telling my dad to quiet down.
Okay.
My sister, I can really only hear her basketball.
Oh, that's good. Mom's got to be able to just keep things in lines. That's what moms do. They manage
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
All right. Um, Tell us about your coach in volleyball. What did you appreciate about them, and how did their coaching improve you as a player?
So Coach Lyons is really big on pushing yourself. She really knew how to push each teammate. Like for different teammates, they aren't like pushed the same way. So she really focused on like how to push each teammate differently. And she would always be your biggest fan no matter what the circumstances were, and she was just really supportive.
Okay. Talk about your teammates. The relationship that you had with them. You basically played all 4 years, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about your teammates and just kind of how things went with you guys going along.
Yeah, and throughout my freshman year, didn't really get much varsity playing time, but I feel like once I got on varsity sophomore through senior year, the relationships like with my teammates got a lot more like tight, and then especially my senior year when I had to become a setter, your relationships get so much more closer because like setter and hitter have to be on the same page, so you have to like know each other really well.
Okay. So tell everybody what you do as setter and just kind of the responsibility of that.
So that's to me, I basically compare it to like being the point guard on the basketball team because it's like basically the leader because you're telling your teammates like where to hit and what to do, and you have to be very vocal on the floor.
Okay. Um, I'm probably imagining, did you probably hit the floor a lot?
Yeah.
I can picture that, with you being a point guard. I mean, you're going to be pretty much where the action is, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right,
Always.
good. What are some of the favorite or the fun moments that you had with your teammates that you're going to be able to carry with you for a long time?
Yeah, definitely going to Final Four my junior year. That'll be like once in a lifetime. And then all the times we went to Ozark, the Ozark tournament in Springfield, there was really tough competition there. So we would always just have fun and try to play our best, even with the competition being like 5A, 6A schools. And I remember one time we were in Ozark and our football boys were playing California. And we, like, the volleyball team always went and support on Friday nights for our football team, and there was like 10 people in a hotel room, and we were all just huddled around this one little laptop screen watching the California game, screaming at the top of our lungs for our team.
Probably had the some of the other people staying there might have been like, what is going on down that hall?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Good. Talk about that. A lot of people don't really understand what it is when you have just such a great community and you guys go and you support one another at games. If you're not playing, you go and support the football team, and vice versa. Talk about that camaraderie.
Yeah, it really means a lot just seeing like just seeing the stands being packed with the fans from Eldon, and like just knowing that you're being supported throughout, like the whole town's just right behind you and always has your back.
It's uh, it's quite something when you have that kind of support, and you look back on those things. And I think, like you said, you see those different faces up in the crowd, and you're going to probably look back on some of those photos and just have some fond memories of the people that were there supporting you guys. So very cool.
Yeah, good laughs at the people's faces. There's some interesting ones in there.
Okay, so if you were to have volleyball bloopers, what was one of those moments where you guys just laughed about what happened? Anything come to mind?
One time, I don't remember who it was, but somebody's like shoe fell off somehow, and it like flew up in the air, like right in the middle of the play, and like everybody stopped, but like somebody, I don't remember who it was, but then we just kept playing and we got the point. But like I just remember seeing like the shoe just flying across the gym up in the air.
Uh, that would be a little distracting,
Yeah, yeah.
especially if it happened to go across the net to the other team and the ball's going over and they would I mean that might be a good play, coach. Can we
That's
do the shoe
awesome.
can we do the flying shoe play, coach?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, distraction.
Oh, how about Dax running across the court? Renee said that, so how about
Oh,
that?
yeah, one
Okay.
too. That
We have
happened a couple times actually.
a Dax wanted to be a part of the action, right? Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, So tell everybody a little bit about the condition. I mean, we're going to get into basketball here in the next segment, but I want you to talk to them about what the difference is in conditioning with volleyball compared to basketball.
Well, I think we did a lot more conditioning in volleyball than we did in basketball. Cause like when it got switched to best 3 out of 5 sets, there was a lot more conditioning that we had to do. And basketball is more just like, for me, it's more of just like an adrenaline thing. Like when my adrenaline's going, like I feel like I could just go on for hours. But for volleyball, it's like not as fast paced. So if you're just like sitting there, well, you're not sitting, but like if you're just like watching the play happen, then you're just like, oh, I have to go.
Yeah, and especially since you again are like the point guard on the court, you got to be aware of
Yeah,
everything at all
yeah.
times. So okay.
Hmm.
Did you ever spike the ball and hit an opponent in the face? Did that ever happen?
No,
Okay.
sad to say I haven't.
Oh, well, wow. I mean, your opponents were fortunate that you didn't get that
Yeah.
opportunity. Good.
Yeah, I guess.
Uh, what are some other things that you want to share about your experience with volleyball?
I feel like it kind of made me who I am today because there was a lot of ups and downs that the whole team went through, and just knowing that I'll be able to push myself through any circumstance.
Hmm. Was there anybody that you looked up to as you were coming along and developing?
Not that I can say. I just really admired Coach Lyons and the way she handled like all the situations that happened throughout the seasons, and
Hmm.
how to still be supportive even though you're going through a lot.
Okay. All right, Sydney, doing an outstanding job. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we will come back and talk about basketball as well as some other things. And then we're going to have at the very end a speed round, which is kind of fun. We get to ask you some off the cuff questions, very, very short, but they're fun. So do not hang up on me, okay?
Oh, all right.
All right. We'll be
Okay,
back right
looking forward to it.
All right, we'll be back right after this break.
Business Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977. Recently, CNS rebranded to CNS Employment Solutions to more clearly define their mission of serving the needs of applicants, employees, and businesses while remaining current and evolving with the changes in the workforce. One important thing has not changed. CNS Employment Solutions partners with a wide variety of employers, placing employees in jobs that match their skills and needs.
Say yes to CNS.
All right, CNS Employment Solutions and my friend Paula Benny and her team over there, they do an outstanding job of getting people lined up with jobs as well as getting the people that need jobs hooked up with employers that need to fill those positions. So they do that right here in mid-Missouri and they have a tremendous success rate. And if you know of anybody that needs a job or if you yourself need a job, feel free to contact Paula and her team at CNS Employment Solutions. You see, I almost said their old name. I did good, but I didn't say it. I almost did. But they've been around for a long time and they do a great job here. We've got lots of you making comments on here. We're going to get to those here in just a moment. And we'll go ahead and ask that question, Renee, right when we get back on. So that's a good one. I want to go ahead and quickly shout out to Big Whiskies right here in Jefferson City. They support us by having the coach of the issue, and Matt Miller, the North Callaway Thunderbirds, was our coach of the issue this past one, and the one that we've got Sydney in. So make sure you check out his article as well as thanking Big Whiskies for just promoting the coaches, just as Sydney was sharing about her volleyball coach, and we'll share about her basketball coach as well, how important they are at making an impact in the lives of our student athletes. So we again want to thank Big Whiskies for doing that. All right, we've been talking to Sydney Halderman of Eldon, and she is an outstanding two-sport athlete. And we're going to ask her a few more questions in this next segment. She's doing a great job, and then we're going to talk to her speed round, and we're going to get some more insight, some things that you have to know, as well as some things I think maybe her parents might want to know as well. So we'll get back to that here in just a moment. All right, Sydney, how are you doing? We're doing okay so far?
Yep, you're doing
Okay,
great.
good. Good. You're still there, so that makes me feel good. You didn't just leave.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Renee's got a question. She said, "Do not forget to ask her about track. She's been very successful this year. So why don't you tell us a little bit about track and what you are competing in there?"
Yeah, so it's definitely a surprise because I really thought I wasn't going to do it this year. This year was my first year doing it. And I'm glad I made that decision to do it because I knew I'd regret it if I didn't do it eventually
Hmm.
down the road. And I do the 4x1, 4x2, 4x4, and triple jump. But this upcoming conference meet, I'm doing the open 400, 4x1, and then long and triple jump. So kind of like a variety of different things.
You are again right in the middle of the action. You're doing everything.
Yeah.
That's that that's that point guard and setter, and you taking it to the track. You're going to be involved in everything. I want to talk about the 400. I want to talk about the 400 meters though, because that's what I ran in high school. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that? That is a very difficult race. Talk about the training for that.
Yeah. Yes, it's probably the most nerve-wracking race that I've ever had to do. There's the training, it's a full sprint the entire time, like the entire lap. And you
Hmm.
really have to know how to pace yourself throughout each 100 stretch. So the
Hmm.
conditioning for that's just basically running 400s over and over again, trying to get your
Hmm.
time faster than the last time.
So are you somebody that leads out from the beginning and then you're trying to hold on, or are you somebody that you move pretty well and then you pick up speed and pass people toward the end?
Yeah, I try to stay like at least behind one or two people the whole
Hmm.
time. Then the last 150, try to pass them if I can.
Hmm.
I don't like being in the front at the very start.
Right, because people will be tracking you down. They've got something to go after.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So, I want to ask this question before we get into basketball. From the different places that you've traveled around um, with whatever sport, what's one of the favorite places that you've gone?
Um, Probably Chicago. We went to it was like the Nationals or something for one of my travel basketball teams, and it was in Chicago in this big building that probably had like 60 courts in it. And it was just a really cool experience, especially seeing like the EYBL girls play. There's a bunch of college coaches there, and it was just a really cool experience.
Oh, good. Um, all right, so we're going to get into basketball. Talk about your success that you had there. Tell us about being the all-time assists and steals leader at Eldon. What's that mean to you?
Well, it definitely means a lot knowing that the assist record was held for a really long time, and just like knowing that I broke that just makes me feel really proud of myself, and knowing that I worked to break that record. It's just a really nice feeling.
Well, Tristan Berenson says Eldon's Caitlin Clark. So there you go. That's some pretty big company. So
My biggest supporter right there.
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit what was your favorite shot on the court?
I think one time, I don't remember who we were playing, but I looked at the clock and I swear it said 3 seconds on the clock, and it was till halftime. So I shot it from half court and I made it, but like the buzzer didn't go off, and then I looked back up there and it said like 25 seconds.
Okay.
So I was like, I just shot a half court, 30 seconds left on the clock.
That's got to be intimidating for the other team. They're thinking, "Oh my goodness, she's taking that shot from here." So I agree, Tristan. Eldon's Caitlin Clark, absolutely. Uh, Talk about that real quick. I mean, you're probably a fan of watching some women's college basketball and possibly WNBA. Tell us about that and just kind of the hype that you saw this year happening with women's college basketball.
Yeah, definitely with Caitlin Clark. Like, I don't know how. She's just like insane with shooting the ball and being able to make those crazy passes. Like, I feel like I strive to be that on the floor, but there's no way I would ever be as good as her.
Well, if you were, we would probably be having different conversations. You might be already talking to me about, hey, name, image, likeness. Okay, we need to do something here.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Uh, so as being the all-time assists and steals leader, that a lot of people may not recognize the significance of that, but that's talking about being good on both the offensive and defensive end of the court. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and just kind of the work that you put into, um, you know, involving your teammates and as well as playing really good defense?
Yeah, I feel like most people underestimate like what a point guard is being able to do, like getting their teammates the ball. Because sometimes there'd be like last year when Haley played, there'd be times where I only had like 12 points, but I had like 10 assists on the floor, and I feel like being able to change the game other than just scoring is very important. Playing defense, getting rebounds, I feel like that's sometimes worth more than even having 30, 40 points.
Well, you did bring up the points and rebounds, and you had more than 1,600 points, and you had more than 500 rebounds in your career. Again, very well rounded. And talk about the work that you put into those two different things. Excuse me, because uh, to score that many points, you've got to be pretty consistent with your scoring per game, as well as you got to be pretty aggressive going after the ball.
Yes, definitely. So points wise, I didn't really score that much until my senior year. I was more pass first, and then this year I had to be score first and pass first. And defensive wise, I think that was the biggest part of my game, just being able to defense and going after the balls, diving on the floor for every loose ball that I can get.
So were there times when, days later you all of a sudden noticed like there was a bruise or a mark on your arm or your knee and think, well, I hadn't seen that before. but just from hitting that floor.
Yes, yes. I think after every single game, there'd be a new bruise, new scratch, new pain in my back, pain in my knee.
Talk about, you talk about pain, stuff like that. Did you ever have any significant injuries during your high school career?
No, not too bad where it was like career ending, but junior year, we were playing Jeff City and I dove after a ball and I laid out across the floor and my left arm was like laid out like this on my shoulder
Hmm.
and this girl landed on this side of me and it like shot a pain throughout my shoulder and I couldn't like lift my arm for the next week. And so I still practiced, but I just had to use my right hand the whole time. Could barely move my left arm.
Well, that's again, you're adapting. Um, Eldon's Caitlin Clark, you're adapting, doing good.
Yeah,
And
I remember dribbling the ball after I had that injury in my arm. Like I dribbled with my left hand because I didn't come out of the game immediately, and just went numb. And I was like, Coach Arden, I gotta get taken out.
yeah, that's not a very good feeling. Your arm going completely numb. You kind of want to use that
Yeah,
thing.
no.
Yeah. You know what? There
Yeah.
is somebody. There is somebody in Eldon that I know that is a very good physical therapist, and that is Jessica Beckman. You could have hollered at her, and
Yep.
she could have taken care of you. But you made
Yep.
it through.
One
You
of the,
made it through.
yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Well, you were a three-time all-conference and all-district in basketball. Anything else been added to that since we did the interview?
Um, I just got all state from last season, all
Hmm.
district player of the year, all conference player of the year, and that's all.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about those awards and tell us what all those have meant to you?
I'll definitely feel very honored to be Conference District Player of the Year, All State. Been working to achieve those goals all 4 years and finally accomplished it this year. I feel like I definitely put in the time and effort to achieve those goals.
Well, being the hard worker that you are, and we can tell that from again your commitment and dedication on both offensive and defensive sides of the floor. That sounds like something that is very well deserved, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Now we need to talk about somebody else, Coach Ryan. Why don't you talk about him and what are your fondest memories playing for him, and what do you take away from his coaching?
So he always wanted us in the gym every chance that we could get. Open gyms before school, practice after school, open gyms on the weekend. It was a lot of work, but it definitely paid off. And he was always very patient with me on my bad days and valued my opinion and trusted me with the ball, trying to make the right decision in in-game situations. And I remember like the one of the best memories I have of him his freshman year. It was his first year, so he wasn't very outgoing. He was kind of quiet. And we won district, and he came into the locker room screaming at the top of his lungs, and everybody was just looking around and being like, "Who is this guy? Like, where did this guy come from?"
Well, that was well deserved. He had coached hard, and you guys had done an outstanding job. So he had to let out a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about some of your other coaches? Some of the assistants, and also, I think some people that we overlook a lot of times are the team managers. Why don't you talk a little bit about them and what you appreciate about their work that they put in?
Yeah, they were all always at every practice, every open gym, controlling the scoreboard, getting us water, and our managers were definitely one of the best. The team really appreciates them and everything that they did for us.
Well, we are talking to Sydney Halderman, and she's, telling us a lot about the experience that she's had in basketball and in volleyball, and found out tonight, that she's doing really well in track, and we're looking forward to the finish of this year on that. I hope you guys are enjoying this. We've got a little bit more that we want to cover, and especially we got to talk about some important people. And I wanted to just give a shout out to the moms and dads out there. And I know we're going to talk about your family, Sydney, so I want you to just open up as much as you can about them and just how much you appreciate their support and how much they've meant to you.
Oh wow, I could go on and on about them the whole day, but they've definitely been my biggest supporters from doing gymnastics, dance, and like first grade to now being basketball, volleyball, track throughout my high school career. Um, my sister was probably had the biggest impact on my basketball game because I remember getting home from gymnastics and she'd be like, "Okay, come on, we gotta go practice outside," and like we'd be out there for 3 hours just playing basketball, trying to beat her in a 1v1, which never did, but still tried.
Okay. Are you able to beat her now?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Okay. You see, that's what happens. That's what happens. You know,
yeah,
my
yeah.
brother
She's a little
growing up.
rusty.
Go ahead. You said she's what?
She's a little rusty now. She hasn't touched a ball for a while.
Okay. Well, that does happen, and that's a good excuse. That's a good excuse too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys probably had some pretty intense driveway basketball games.
Yes, definitely. And downstairs we had like this mini basketball hoop thing, and I just remember me and my mom and dad and my sister would always play 2v2 on the mini hoop downstairs.
Well, that's good that you had mom and dad involved because if you guys broke something, then they were right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unlike my brother and I, when we were playing football in the house and we broke one of my mom's favorite vases, um, that didn't go quite so well.
Oh no, I can
No.
only imagine.
And we weren't very old at that time either. I think we were probably around, I was in third grade, I think, and my brother was in second grade. We broke those. And then so my mom proceeded to break two of our toys that we had. And so, those kind of things are lasting memories. Don't play football in the house.
Yeah, yeah. Life lesson learned.
Or get your mom and dad involved in playing football in the house and then you're covered.
Exactly.
All right. Why don't you talk a little bit more about your sister? What's the age difference, and just kind of talk about your relationship even outside of sports.
We're 6 years apart, and we always get mad at my parents because we wanted to play high school basketball together, and we never got the chance to. But we always had a really good relationship outside of outside of sports, and just like being always able to talk to her about anything. And I know she would always be there for me. And then now I don't really see her that much, which is kind of sad because she got married and moved away, but still get to talk to her every day.
Okay. How far away did she move?
She just moved to Jeff.
Okay. Well, that's not that far away. Come on.
Okay, that's a pretty long drive.
Okay. All right. I shared with you that my daughter and son-in-law and grandkids, I shared with you that they live 15 and a half hours away. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's a
It's
little
not quite
different.
that long.
Okay.
Yeah,
But we fly there. I don't want to drive that. That's too far to drive. Too far to drive.
yeah, yeah.
What would you tell us a little bit about your mom and dad, or what are some of the characteristics that you've picked up from them? Work ethic, whatever those types of things are. What did you pick up from them?
Yeah, work ethic is probably one of the biggest ones. My dad works whenever he gets the chance, so does my mom. Definitely get my intensity from my dad, love for the game, being competitive. My mom My mom was a cheerleader in high school, so I didn't get that trait from her, but my dad played basketball and baseball. And so, yeah, definitely get my love for sports and motivation and intensity from my dad.
Yeah. Well, and you probably saw on the screen there that Renee commented about your acting like your sister moved to Australia.
I mean, basically, like,
Yeah, Jeff City is like Australia, right?
same thing.
Yeah, you're right. That's what we'll just call us the little Australia. There you go.
Yeah.
There's somebody there's somebody else that you talked about that's and had an important impact in your life, and that was your grandpa, and passed away before your freshman year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to share a little bit about him and just kind of what he meant to you?
So yeah, he was probably one of like my main biggest supporter. Would always be at the games probably 2 3 hours before they even start. Probably more nervous than I was. And I feel like after he passed, it just gave me something bigger to play for other than myself. Just knowing that he's watching and would call me before every single one of my games and make sure that my shoes were tied tight. That was one thing that he always asked was if my shoes were tied tight. I don't know why, but he always asked that before every single game. And I can remember when I first started playing upwards in third grade how excited he was because my whole family thought I was going to be a gymnast or a dancer because I did that until third grade. And then once I started playing basketball, I could really tell how excited he was.
Hmm. Well, you know that a lot of that probably had to do with when you were a small child, and you were walking around, running around with your shoes untied, and that was just kind of habit. He was just trying to make sure that you continue to have your shoes tied. He was just looking out for you,
Yeah.
just looking out for you.
Yeah, make sure I don't trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, what have you appreciated the most about your experience at Eldon High School, and talk a little bit about the faculty and staff and coaches? What have they meant to you?
Just the support I get from the whole town. They're always at like all the athletic and academic events, always just being there and showing their support.
What's been your favorite classes? Your favorite field of study at high school?
Uh, Probably health occupations this year. It's learning about the body and diseases. It's basically a prereq to nursing school. It's with Miss Dickerson, and it's
Hmm.
just a really cool class getting to know about every how complex the body is and all the different diseases and how the body works.
Hmm. And so, see, this is going to be a great segue. So we're going to jump right into. So now, what are you going to be doing after you leave high school?
Yeah, so I'm going to Ozark Technical College in Springfield to go to their nursing school for 2 years. I start in August, and I'm really excited about that.
Mhm. And you did say that you're not continuing your sports career, at least at this time. And you already talked about
Yeah,
missing.
not as
And you already talked about missing that. What are you missing so far?
just being able to play the game, knowing that that was my last time probably touching a ball. Just kind of sad.
Well, there's always those Thanksgiving games that you can get out there with mom and dad and your sister and go at it again.
Yeah.
That's right. Uh, any final comments that you want to share with our viewers? Anything else that you want to tell them about yourself, or I'm just leaving it up to you. It's wide open.
Just want to thank I just want to thank Sports Locker for featuring my story in the magazine and being able to do this interview. I feel really honored to be here.
Well, we're honored to have you on here, and you've done an outstanding job, and you've been putting up with a lot of my corny jokes. I guess we'd call them dad or grandpa jokes or whatever you want to call them.
They're not corny.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. You're awesome.
I'm
Now you may
not.
you may think differently after we get done with this next session. No, this next session is going to be fun.
Oh
Um,
no.
Renee said, and all of your track coaches. She's wanting to make sure that giving
Yes.
the appreciation and shout out to them. Okay,
Yeah. Shout out to all the track coaches.
there you go. All right, so we're going to jump right into the speed round, and we're going to start off with the one that is kind of, we see the word eat behind you. So, what is your favorite go-to snack or meal after you got done with a basketball, volleyball game, or now even track?
Um, M&M McFlurry from McDonald's.
An M&M McFlurry. Okay. That
Yes.
that was very specific, and I'm thinking that a lot of people are agreeing with you and are thinking about making a run to McDonald's right now.
Yeah, just a cold, crisp McFlurry. So good.
Okay. So now we're going to get into more nutrition. So what is your favorite meal? And it doesn't have to be after a
Uh,
game.
I don't know. I have a lot of favorite meals. Probably pulled pork sandwich with mashed potatoes, strawberries, and corn.
Okay. Again, that's mom, do you hear that? That she's hungry. That's a good indication right there.
Yeah, Mom, get in here.
Yeah. And now we're going to go to something else, and they can feel free to pop in, chime in, on this just to verify that this is true. But what is your least favorite chore to do around the house?
Dishes.
Oh my.
Just something about dirty dishes just grosses me out.
Do you have a dishwasher? Do you use a dishwasher?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my.
but getting them out of the sink with like the dirty water in it just it makes me want to gag.
You do know that someday you're going to be on your own and somebody's going to have to do your dishes.
Yeah,
Or are you just going to go
yes.
paper?
Hopefully, I learn how to like it by the time I get there. Yeah, yeah.
All right. If there's anywhere in the world you could go, where would that be and why?
Hawaii because I really like the beach, and you get like the mountains and the beach, so like you can go hiking and still be at the beach at the same time, and it's really warm there, and it's very pretty.
Okay. Well, if you happen to decide to go to Hawaii, you let me know and I will put you in contact with my friend who lives on Kona, and he says that they have the best coffee in the world. And if you like coffee, we'll just have to make sure that
Oh
he give they give you a tour and get you some coffee.
yes, we'll have to do that. I'll
All
let you
right.
know.
All right. Sounds good. Um, if you were to describe yourself as a superhero on the court, um, which one would that be by just kind of your personality? It
Uh,
it can be Marvel or DC, it
Spider
doesn't
Man.
matter. Spider-Man, okay?
Okay, Spider
Okay.
Man because he's very like jumps around everywhere, and I feel like he's always has a lot of energy.
Yeah. And he could probably catch the flying shoe with his web, sling it out there and bring it back
Yes,
real quick.
exactly, exactly.
All right. Well, Sydney, I've really enjoyed this interview with you, and we enjoyed featuring you in Sports Soccer Magazine. And well done in your career. Well done in just being a good role model for a lot of the kids that are coming up behind you. They've got a good example that they can follow. Anything that you want to say to them as far as those student athletes that are coming behind you?
Just to always push through even when times get tough, cause it'll pay off in the end.
I miss this. And talking about chores on the house, I did miss this comment. And guess what Amy said?
Oh no.
All of them. Is
Nuh-uh,
there
I do more than she does.
okay? But I'm not going to get into the family argument. We're just going to leave it at that. All right.
Okay.
Well, Sydney, this has been a great interview. If you will hold on until after I close out the program, I want to visit with you briefly afterwards, and then you've done an outstanding job. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right, I'll be right back with you in just a moment. All right, thank you guys for joining us tonight on One Nation, the Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. Sydney Halderman of the Eldon Mustangs. Wow, what an amazing young woman, and looking forward to what she's going to be doing next. And especially when you're talking about somebody that is wanting to go into the care of other people, that's something that kind of hits home with me right now due to the fact that both of my in-laws have struggled with two pretty major surgeries here in the last couple of months. And just knowing that you've got good people, good caring people like Sydney that are out there and giving their best to take care of your loved ones. So um, we have been very fortunate to see a great career there in Eldon High School with Sydney, and we're looking forward to what she's going to do next as she moves on into the next phase. All right, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I am your host, Kirk DeMars of One Nation of Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.